Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? It's proclaimed the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to another episode of The Spread. I'm your host, Jim Sella, in studio with co-host Jay Dash and Big Easy.
It's me.
We got our prospect check for you this week. We're going to talk about the Brewers outfielder Bret Phillips and the Brewers starting pitcher Zack Davies. Dash, you spent all day doing this stuff. You love it. You're like Lou from Major League. You love this British stuff.
Why a double Brewer smash? I don't like that.
DB.
Well, I mean,
the first two prospects from the same team.
Well, first off, I want to point out, fans, that our prospect check's going to start winding down a little bit for the season. Probably in September, when all the call-ups come up, we'll probably stop doing it. But if there's any prospects you want to hear us talk about in the off-season or even moving in the next season, hit us up on Twitter at bet_the_spread or hit me up at betjimthewin. Let us know, and we can put together a segment. But, I mean, once September comes, there's nobody else to call up. Everybody gets called up.
Get a hold of them sources.
Yeah, once the rosters expand, most of the prospects that are going to get called up will be called up by then. And the reason I'm doing two Brewers is because they're one of the teams that has some prospects to call up. I mean, Cincinnati has some, but we already talked about those guys. So really, I mean, you're winding down on
we've done 38 prospects
to really
so far
what
this year.
Prospects could still be called up this season. There's not that many more left that could actually make an impact. I mean, you're going to see some prospects get called up that aren't going to make any impact in the major leagues, but these two guys have a possibility, especially Brewers outfielder Bret Phillips. Now, he's ranked number 21 overall by Baseball America. He's just 21 years old. He's 6 foot, 180 pounds. He's a left-handed bat that was drafted out of high school in 2012. Yeah, like Nelly.
Okay. In
the 6th round, 189th overall, and it was by Houston. He was actually just acquired from the Houston Astros in the Carlos Gomez deal, and, well, the deal that also brought in Mike Fiers as well. So he was just sent to the Milwaukee Brewers. And originally, his speed was considered his best offensive tool. Now, if you look in 2012 and 2013, between rookie ball and a full with the Astros, he had 7 stolen bases in 54 games in 2012 and 5 stolen bases in 41 games in 2013. Now, if you put that over a full season, those are pretty decent numbers, but he was showing no power. He had 0 home runs in those 95 games. And he was hitting under 250 in that span as well, so he wasn't really showing a hit tool either. But his hit tool actually took a big step forward in 2014, and actually he was the Astros minor league player of the year that season. Now, if you look, in 2014 he hit .310 between A full and A advanced, and then this season between A advanced and 2 different teams of Double A, he's hitting .314. So you could see he's really put it together at the plate over the past couple years. Now, he has solid plate discipline and solid contact skills as well. If you look, he was taking a lot of walks earlier in his career, so he had a real high walk rate, taking 28 walks in 54 games in 2012, 20 walks in 2013 in 41 games. Now, the walk rate has dropped over the past 2 seasons a little bit, but it is still at a solid number. If you look this season, he has 43 walks in 113 games, so it's a pretty solid number. And like I was saying, his strikeout rate, it isn't fantastic, but he has improved on it over the past couple years while his walk rate went down. And you could see he has high on base percentages, a .375 in 2014 and a .382 in 2015. So this guy has really turned it around with the bat over the past couple years and has become more of a complete hitter. And really, you can consider this guy a 5-tool player. However, he's not outstanding at really any category outside of his arm. I mean, he has a really strong arm. Now, he could play center field because they just lost Carlos Gomez. A lot of scouts believe this guy's better fit for right field, but either way, his arm is going to play wherever they put him, and he's pretty quick too, so I think he could stick in center field as well.
Is his arm strong enough to beat Sylvester Stallone in an arm wrestling match?
Where you come up with this stuff?
Just a yes or no. All he wants is a yes or no. Yes or no?
No.
No.
Your bait. Later, Phillips.
But I'll tell you what, this Bret Phillips, he's got a lot of work to do because the Cubs are there, the Cardinals are there, Pirates are there. It's going to be hard to shine in that division.
Well, I mean, he can still shine as a player, just not as a team, obviously.
You gotta have a good
He's
team
going
to
to take
shine.
over Ryan Braun's spot.
You gotta be able to shine.
Who knows? Braun isn't going to last forever in Milwaukee, I don't think. But
Braun's
if you look,
garbage.
this guy has excellent gap power and solid home run power now as well. Like I said, he hit no home runs his first 2 years. But look over the past 2 years. 29 doubles, 14 triples, and 17 home runs in 2014 in 493 at-bats. This season, 32 doubles, 14 triples, and 16 home runs in 113 games, 478 at-bats. Now, the triples are there because he obviously has good speed, too. But you can see he has the extra base power, and he really turned that into some home run power, something that a lot of people didn't think he would have. I mean, people thought this guy was a leadoff hitter when they first drafted him. Now, he looks more like a number 3 hitter. Since coming to the Brewers, his batting numbers, they really don't line up with what he did in his minor league career. It's been a small sample, just 53 at-bats, but he has no home runs. He's struck out 21 times already, but he's also taken a huge amount of walks, 13 in 16 games, and he hasn't shown too much speed, 2 stolen bases. So you got to see a bigger sample before you make a judgment on him coming to the Brewers system. But like I said, this guy is very athletic. He has enough speed to stick in center field. He has the arm to play anywhere in the outfield. Now, potentially, he could be a 280 to 300 hitter with a pretty solid on-base percentage. But immediately, I see him striking out a little bit too much in the majors, and then him working that rate down as he gets more comfortable in the bigs. In a good offense, he could score more than 100 runs with that speed and the high average and on-base percentage. And like I said, he could also show a good amount of home run power in the bigs as well, especially now that he got traded over to Milwaukee. People were thinking 12 to 15 home runs. Well, now that he's in Milwaukee, you might be able to see him put up 20 home runs. 20 stolen bases is definitely a possibility as well, and really 25 isn't out of the question. So you might see a 20-20 guy here, could have a high on-base percentage and is above average defensively. So this is really an everyday starter at some point, maybe not initially though. Now, are they going to call him up this season? That's something that I'm not quite so sure of. Now, there's some talk they want to call him up when rosters expand, and it is a possibility. That's why I put him in a prospect check segment, but I'm not so sure. I think they're going to leave him down. He's only in Double-A right now. I really see him more of maybe someone that gains a starting job out of spring training, but it also doesn't hurt to give him a shot and maybe get him used to it because they know he's going to be their starter next season, and try to get him at some at-bats so he's a little more comfortable heading in the next season. We'll have to see how it plays out.
They're not going anywhere, so let them get that experience with teams that need to pitch and play well and win games to succeed. So that'll be the best test for him, you would think.
Another guy they may call up, and I actually think this one will happen, is Zack Davies, starting pitcher. Now, he's not ranked in the top 100 on either MLB.com nor Baseball America. And on MLB.com, he's ranked as the organization's 11th best prospect. He's 22 years old. Now, look, he's not the typical size you want to see out of a starting pitcher, and that's why there's still a lot of questions on this guy. Just 6 foot, 160 pounds.
You sure you're not talking about me?
He's a righty that was drafted out of high school in 2011 in the 6th round, 785th overall by Baltimore. 785 picks. I do not want to be in a baseball draft. I would not want to sit there and draft that many players.
At least he wasn't 786.
But look, he was drafted by Baltimore, like I was saying, and he was actually dealt to the Milwaukee Brewers at the deadline as well. They acquired him for Gerardo Parra, a guy that's having a great season, but you sort of knew he wasn't going to get a huge return because he's not a player that you believe is going to be good long term. He's more of a guy just having a good season, bring him in here, help us get to the playoffs. But Davies, I mean, this is a pretty decent return for him. Like I said, it's a guy that has decent upside, that has a lot of questions still, and that's pretty much what you were going to get for Gerardo Parra at this point. But Davies, his fastball is average at best, but it does have a little bit of movement, some sink to it. He has an average curveball as well, but he does have one of the best changeups in the minors, which really helps his fastball play up a little, and he also has pretty good control. Now, earlier in the minors, in 2012, that was his first season, even though he was drafted in 2011. His walk rate wasn't fantastic, 46 walks in 114.1 innings. But it has got better since. 38 walks in 148.2 innings in 2013 in A Advanced. Just 32 walks in 110 innings in Double A in 2014. And this season, it went up a little bit, but he isn't pitching in Triple A right now. And really, the numbers just come from the starts that he made with the Brewers. He got to get used to the system a little bit. He made 3 starts, has 9 walks compared to 13 Ks in 16 innings. You take away those 9 walks, and you could still see his walk rate is pretty good. With Baltimore, it was 33 walks and 101.1 innings, something you can accept. Now, he doesn't get hit up too much. It's not a fantastic number, but it's less than 1 hit per inning. He does a great job of keeping the ball in the ballpark. Just 34 home runs allowed in 490.1 innings in the minor leagues. So, I mean, he has nothing great about him. His strikeout rate isn't fantastic. He keeps it under 1 per inning, but it also isn't terrible. Like I said, there's nothing great about this guy, but he does everything good enough where he should be able to get a shot in a rotation and a shot to stick and see if he can last with that frame. Now, he might not be a guy that lasts until he's 35, 40 years old, but while he's young, I think he could give you some good value, at least at the back end of your rotation there in Milwaukee, because they have a lot of problems.
Well, that's what I was just going to ask you, Dash. Where do you see him fitting in a rotation? Somewhere as high as number 3, possibly, or as low as get out of the rotation?
Well, definitely as low as get out of the rotation. That's definitely a possibility, and I don't see this as a guy who can be a good reliever for you either. I mean, he might be able to turn into a long reliever for you, but he has the upside. I mean, if he keeps improving, a number 3 starter, like you say, but I think more of a number 4 or 5 starter potential for him.
So he's Jeff Locke.
Well, something like Jeff Locke, a guy who, sticks
maybe
at the back of
maybe give you 5 good innings, but can't quite push 6, 7, or 8 in a game.
Well, it depends. I mean, we'll have to see how it turns out for him. Just because Jeff Locke doesn't go deep into games doesn't mean this guy
I'm thinking because he's a smaller guy, so he might fatigue a little bit more. So he might be just somebody similar who will give you 5, pretty good innings for a number 4 guy. Yeah. Maybe even a good 6th inning. But if you try to push him too far past that in a single start, that's when he might start to fall apart a little bit.
I mean, if you look, he has a career 3.51 ERA in the minors. So you see he definitely deserves a chance to stick in a rotation. Now, with Milwaukee, his numbers don't look that good, but he did have two good starts. His first start, he went 6 innings, allowed 6 hits, 1 earned run with 3 walks and 7 Ks. His second outing was really what makes his numbers look bad in Milwaukee right now. 4 innings pitched, 8 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, and 3 Ks. But he bounced back in his third start, 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, and 3 Ks. So he's not going to be a guy that dominates by any means, but he is definitely someone that can eat up innings for you and really stick at the back end of the rotation. There's no reason why not. Like I said, he's probably not going to be a guy that lasts in the league for 15 years, but while he's young, he could be a good pitcher.
Number 4 starter's better than my job.
Please believe. But yeah, I think Davies should be called up this year. Give him a chance in his rotation because they have so many questions about their rotation. They need to figure it out before next season. And Phillips, I'd leave him down there just because...
Even with September call-ups?
Yeah, listen, this is their best prospect outside of Arcia, so I want to make sure he is definitely ready for the bigs and you don't call him up too early in Arunum. I'd like to see him get some time in AAA. I know you say, if you get called up now and you struggle and you never turn into a good player, you never deserve to be. I mean, there are numbers out there that prove that if you get over 300, I think it's 350 at-bats in AAA, your chances go way up of succeeding in the big leagues long term. And it's not just...
Well, you can still get those at-bats if you get sent back down.
Baseball is a head game to a lot of baseball players, man. One little thing that gets in your head, and you might go on a huge slump. You got to be on. You have to be feeling good. I mean, that could put something in your head that says, I can't stick in the majors, and then you just never put it together like you were originally supposed to. I mean, it happens, man. I know it sounds crazy, but that thing, there are numbers out there that prove it.
Essay.
I'm telling you.
Is that all we got, Dash?
Yep.
That's it, fans. You can follow us on Twitter at bet_the_spread or follow me on Twitter at betjimthewin. Check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/betthespread. Keep coming back to that YouTube channel. Like I said at the beginning of the segment, we're going to be winding down these prospect checks. So if there's anybody you want to hear before the end of the season or possibly moving forward into next year, just hit us up and let us know. Peace.